Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Vancouver Rain Draft to Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 23. So in last episode, we started up the 14th year season simulation, and so far so good. We are 56-27, which has us as the best team in baseball. Everything has been working really well, and some statistics have been improving from last season, which is good considering last year we were the best team in baseball as well. But you can see right now we have a 290 batting average combined, which last year at the end of the season, I think we were below that. So hopefully we can maintain course so we actually technically have a better offensive season in a way. But the one thing that improved drastically this year so far has been our ERA from our pitchers. As you can see, we are currently the 6th best team in pitching with a 3.82. Last year, I believe we were like 12th or maybe 15th at like the halfway point. So we're in a really good spot if our pitching keeps on going like this. And we could easily jump past the Reds for 5th, I'd say. But I don't know if we're going to get into the top 4. But hopefully we could have good performances once we get to the playoffs as well. Because obviously that's when it matters more. So the regular season really is not really a telling thing once it comes to the playoffs, because last year we won 107 games, I'd like to say, and then we still lost in the ALCS like we did the years before that, where we had much less wins. So hopefully we have a really good run in the second half of the season, and hopefully a very good playoff run as well, because I think for this series I was debating when I should be technically ending the series, because we're already at like 52 episodes with this episode. I would think the best course of action would be to probably end the series once like the main core guys retire. So I'm talking about Garth Howe, Giancarlo Sixto, Ozzy Cardenas. Once those three are retired, I think that's probably the best time for us to end the series. Also, technically around the time we also win a World Series would be good too. But honestly, we could win a World Series this year. But I think once those big three guys retire, that's more so when I'd like to end it, because obviously those are the three guys I care about the most on this team, I think. But anyways, before we get into the year 14 draft, which should be exciting in its own right, I do have a couple comments to go over. So the first one is from Michael Dose, who says, "You took Groves out of the lineup and shouldn't have." And I went back and adjusted our lineup to the beginning of last episode. So now we have Josh Groves back in the lineup, Ray McMahon's back on the bench. I didn't really remember who was in what spots, so yeah, Bill Pineda's back to DH, that type of thing, which is good. But we've been getting really good offense from a lot of guys this season. The only big line change we made, basically, or lineup change, I should say, is Ozzy's not the leadoff man anymore. He's now in the 3 spot because he was kind of struggling, as you can see, with a 246, which is kind of uncharacteristic of him. So I put him in the 3 spot, and then I moved Pinheiro, I think, was up to the 1 spot. Trevino, I think, was always in the 2 spot, but I could be wrong with that. But there is a little bit of a subtle change to the lineup just to try and get Ozzy going a little bit here. Because if Ozzy could get going, that would be kind of huge for us, because we have already a really good offense. But if Ozzy gets up to like a 280 batting average, that will make our team even much better, because we have like 3 guys here all in the 330s. If Ozzy could get up to the 280s, 290s again, that would be amazing. And the last 2 comments are from Knickerbocker Barons OC. The first one says, "Good stuff, my man." And I was asking him about if he saw anything intriguing draft-wise, and he said Javier Pena, Willie Cabrera, and Tyler Ball. So those are potentially going to be our 3 guys that we target in the first round with our pick. So let's go take a look at those guys right now, because we obviously have not done that since last episode. I also put a couple guys more to get scouted out for this next week, which you could see. One of them is actually named Jeff Pipp. I didn't realize there's another Jeff Pipp in this draft. This one's a pitcher, though, which is kind of funny. So we lost to Jeff Pipp. Maybe there's a chance we get another Jeff Pipp, but I probably doubt it, because I don't think we're going to really target starting pitchers. But it would be kind of funny to have another Jeff Pipp in our lineup, but it's just kind of funny that there's 2 generated guys with the same name. But the guys he's telling me to go after, Willie Cabrera was one of them. He was saying at number 2 for our pick order. He's looking pretty solid. He's looking like a pretty good contact guy with some good vision, good discipline, good arm strength, good speed, not really good stealing and all that stuff. But he looks like he gets to be a solid option, very high potential player, maybe a low overall though. So he might be more of a project that we could get in the second round if we're lucky. But I don't know if he's going to be the best guy, but he is a third baseman, and that's kind of something we need still more of. So he was mentioning him. He was also mentioning Javier Pena and also Tyler Ball. So Javier Pena and Tyler Ball, I believe, were both right fielders. Yes, they are. Okay. So Javier Pena looks really good. I really like Javier Pena. He's going to be a 70 to 75 overall with an 84 to 89 potential. So he's almost going to be kind of like Ozzy in a way, where he's going to be a high overall out of the draft with decent potential. Well, actually, I guess Ozzy didn't really have decent potential, but this guy will have decent potential. The only problem is he's 23, but at this rate, we don't really care about the age because we're a contending team, so it's better to get guys in as fast as possible. And yeah, Pena looks like he's going to be a great hitter. He also looks like he could have some solid vision and discipline, not the best, but we could probably always develop that. And he's not going to be really the best defensive outfielder. That's the only one problem I would have with him since he's an outfielder, but I do really like the offensive game that this guy brings, which we really haven't had a third baseman bring offense, because if you look at our former third baseman, Schneider really wasn't doing much, and Pip really wasn't doing much. So I do like Javier Pena quite a bit. And then Tyler Ball was the other one that he was mentioning, and I'm not really sold on Tyler Ball at all, so I don't know what he sees in him, but he has apparently maybe good potential, probably a low overall at the draft, but he's 18 years old. He's not supposed to go to like round 2, so I definitely wouldn't be taking him, I don't think, in the first round, to be honest, but we could get him in the second round, so we might be able to get both, like, multiple players in this draft that we want, but who knows? Depends on what the guys think. But yeah, this guy looks like he could be still a good, like, kind of like speed threat with some okay power, especially against righties. So we'll see if we're able to get this guy or not. I'd say he's definitely one of the lower ones on my list, though, because I do like some of the other guys a little bit more. Like, for example, I do like Sam Lentz a little bit more, even though he's not guaranteed to be a high overall in the draft. Well, actually, he is kind of guaranteed to be a high overall, but he might have low potential. He might be like a D guy. It'd still be kind of nice to have this kind of dude too. So I do like Sam Lentz, maybe even a bit better than Tyler Ball, but Tyler Ball probably will have the higher ceiling for sure. That's the only thing. And Lentz is injured too, which is not great. So anyways, those are the comments I got in last episode. So let's get into this draft and see what we're going to be able to snag up here. We'll also see what these guys end up being. So Matt Lloyd, Luis Suriano, and Jeff Pip. It seems weird saying Jeff Pip. He doesn't look like our Pip at all. Speaking of Jeff Pip, he's been doing solid in Washington so far. I took a look at his stats after the last episode. We'll definitely have to take a look at those at the end of the season in the next episode. Also, I'm recording now with OBS for my videos just because I don't know if I'll have any technical problems with OBS. I know I had a ton of problems with my Elgato software on its own right, so maybe using OBS I'll never run into any like video pausing glitches or something like that. So let's hope for a good clean video basically here. But yeah, let's go this extra week of scouting, and then we'll take a look at how these three dudes are, and then we'll get into the draft. So 2 games against the Angels. We've been doing good against them so far. We're up 2-0 in the series. Can we pull off a sweep? Yes, we can. Nicely done, boys. And 2 good defensive games as well. One was a shutout. Nicely done. And then one was a 10-2 victory. This team is doing really well. Really well. 58-27. Let's go to the end of the week because the draft is on the 5th, I think. Let's see how we do against the Padres and also against Houston. Okay, we're winning still games. That's good. And there's another win. Nice. Okay, let's get into this 2036 draft. Let's take a look at those guys we were just scouting out. So Luis Suriano is looking actually pretty good. He is a first baseman, though, which is something I don't technically need. He might go really high in the draft, too. But he's 85% scouted. He's got a huge bonus demand, more than our bonus money, so we would definitely not be able to draft this guy anyways, but yeah, he's going to be a pretty good player. And then the other ones we were looking at, Jeff Pip, and I think the other one was a pitcher too, right? Or maybe the other one was a different position. Jeff Pip is looking maybe like an okay pitcher. Yeah, he's looking like maybe an okay pitcher, but I don't think I would take him, to be honest, because I don't really know for sure, because he's only 40% scouted. So it's a bit of a risk if I was to go with Pip. Okay, let's see. Where is this other dude again? I can't remember what position he was playing. I could just go scouted or scouted recently. Is there still scouted recently? No, there's not. Let's go to the back of this list and see if I could find where this dude is, just to see if he was actually worth scouting out. Oh yeah, it was Matt Lloyd, wasn't it? Yeah, shortstop. Okay, he might be a project shortstop, but he might be really high overall, but he's probably going to be more of a, I don't know, that's a big risk one, because his potential is in the 69 to 95 range, right now because we haven't scouted him out that much. I don't think I would take him because he's probably not that high of an overall in the draft. He might be, you never know, but I don't think so. Let's add some players to our list, or those 3 players at least. Actually, let's just add everybody that's 100% scouted first, and we'll add like the 85s. And anybody that's like, I'd say 75 and above, we'll add to our list, just because might as well. So we'll go to scouted, and we will add all the 100%ers first. That way we're kind of more organized all right out of the gate. But I'm hoping that we can find ourselves some good players in this draft. Because even if we have like a very bad draft, I hope we win the World Series this year so it doesn't hurt us as much in a sense. Because once we win one World Series, we'll probably fall off a little bit, considering some guys will start dropping and retiring. But I still want to have a good draft so that way we can replace those good players with other ones. So it's an 85. The rest of these guys are below 75. I think this guy's a 70, so we'll add him. Why not? And then I think there was one more guy. I'll add a 69. Why not? 69 percentage. Everybody else is way too low to even tell if they're good right now, so we won't add them at the moment. But we have the 27th overall pick, so we're not drafting for quite a while. We'll add our top 3 guys, which was Javier Pena. Let's get Javier Pena up there. It was then Willie Cabrera, and then we had Tyler Ball up there as well. We'll add those 3 guys to our top 3. And then after that, it's just going to come down to looking through them and seeing who's supposed to go higher up. Okay, so that is good. Let's get to the draft and see what we're able to get at 27. And we'll take a look at this entire first round again since we're drafting late in the first round. So the Twins have first, and it's followed by Kansas City, the Angels, the Dodgers, and then Washington. Yeah, we're Boston's last pick in the draft, and then it's the Mets, the Reds, and us. Damn. The Reds also might be a really good team this year for potentially winning the World Series, I would guess. But let's see what we got for the first few picks here. We'll actually take a look at the first round in general just to see if any of our guys go off the board. And Luis Soriano goes. So we were literally just scouting out this guy. And he goes first overall. Our scouts had him at number 1. MLB had him at number 3. That's a pretty good pick, I think, there for the Twins. If it ends up being a miss, I'd be kind of surprised. But this guy should be a high overall in the draft with a really solid potential, too. So there is Soriano. I knew I kind of recognized his face a little bit. Who is the second overall pick going to the Royals? The Royals are still bad in this universe, which is kind of funny. It's a short guy. It's Justin Ness. Okay, we did scout out Ness as well. And his bonus demand was $8.6 million, which is more than the other guy, which is kind of nuts. But yeah, this guy might be a project outfielder, but he also might be a really good overall, like a 68 with 93 potential, which would be huge for them. So there's a pretty good outfield pick. So definitely there's good outfielders in this draft if one's going early on. I mean, we did find quite a few of them in the right field. This guy looks kind of familiar as well, going to the Angels in our division. No, he isn't. Hoyt Borowitz, starting pitcher. So there's the first pitcher off the board. Might be a high overall, might be a low overall, but might have solid potential, might not have good potential. You never know. So there's your top 3 of the draft. Now we got to take a look at what the rest of these picks are like up to our pick. Hopefully one of our guys is still on the board by that time. Salvador Blanco goes 4th overall to the Dodgers. We didn't scout out him at all, but he's another pitcher that's 21 years old. Might have a high overall, might not. Matt Livingston then goes to another starting pitcher. Wow, so we go through 3 starting pitchers in a row after we went for 2 other guys. There's another starting pitcher, one we actually scouted out, in Abraham Vasquez, who looks like he's going to be pretty solid. He's another 23-year-old, but he's got like good potential. He should be a high overall in the draft as well. And then Bernardo Vasquez, which is a different spelling of Vasquez. I was going to say they're probably brothers, but one's Z and one's S. It's kind of funny. Then Fernando Franco goes. What are these names? Double F. He goes to Tampa. Who's Detroit taking at 9? Esteban Salazar. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of international players going here, I think. Well, actually, Salazar is from Georgia. Never mind. Dominican. What else we got here? Ohio, Mexico, Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at the rest of them. Pennsylvania again, California, Arkansas, and Nevada. After Salazar, John Bryant went. We did scout this guy for third baseman. We did want him in a sense. Like, he was another third baseman I was kind of looking at, but didn't have super high on my list. Oh, Javier Pena just went in. Of course, it's the Phillies again. So Rafael Murillo went first, but Javier Pena heads to the Phillies, and Willie Cabrera heads to the Cubs. So 2 of our guys are off our list, which means Tyler Ball is the only one remaining. We might have to go for somebody completely off the board because Tyler Ball could still go here early on. That sucks that those guys went already. I knew we wouldn't have a good chance of getting them since they were projected pretty high up, but I was hoping that one would fall. Jake Irving goes as well, and that's another guy I was kind of liking in a way for the defensive play, not for the offensive, but he goes to Seattle. Emil Ortega goes to the Padres. Him and his crazy beard might be a high overall and a high potential, or just like a C potential guy. Hard to tell. Santiago Pulido goes to the Giants. We're almost getting to our pick finally. Tyler Ball's still on the board, which I was thinking because he's probably the worst out of the bunch of the players that we were looking at. Alonso Fernandez goes. Did not scout out this guy, but I remember scouting out somebody with a similar name, I think. Houston at 19 takes Gary Hughes. The most American guy probably in this draft so far, in terms of name. From Ohio. Of course, yeah, most American from Ohio makes sense. DeAndre Sizemore then goes to the Cardinals. We're a few picks away. Tyler Ball is still on the board. Matt Lloyd goes. Of course, there's another guy we were just looking at. We were just scouting out him. He might be a really good player, but it's tough to tell at this stage. He goes to Texas. Jeff Pipp goes already. Damn, that sucks. We can't get our second Jeff Pipp of the series. He goes to the Diamondbacks. What are the Braves going to take? Otis Samuel. Okay, that's the most American name. Well, at least I'd say like Texas or some southern state with the name Otis. California. Never mind. Keith Beach then goes to the Yankees. Never scouted out this guy, but he's another pitcher. Who are the Pirates going to take at 25? Richard Conley, an outfielder as well. Now, we didn't scout out at all. Might be a good player, never know. And finally at 26, the White Sox take Tyler Ball right before our pick. Are you serious? Wow, okay, well, we have to go for somebody that's not one of the players Nick said, which kind of sucks because it relies now heavily on me to make the right decision here. So, we got Eddie Palmeiro, who is a center fielder. Might be solid. 73 to 88, 50 to 65. Oh, I do like Rod Smith. Yeah, Rod Smith was one of the guys I was looking at, and he is a third baseman. I think I might go for Rod Smith here. I'm going to reorder this, put Rod Smith above Palmeiro. I do like Lentz as well, though. I do like Lentz as well, but I feel like third base is a bigger need for this team. Danny Stone's not really that great. He might be a D potential player, which means third base might not be as strong as we think. Sean Crowley is looking actually pretty solid. He's supposed to not even get drafted, so we might have to take this guy next round if we get the chance, because we do need a closing pitcher too. So he's probably high up on my list as well with these other two guys. Charles Brown as well is looking like maybe a solid closer, but he might have a high bonus demand. Yeah, 6.8 bonus demand. What's Crowley's? 236K. So yeah, I'm not going for Charles Brown for sure. I think I'm going to go with Rod Smith here, maybe. But Sam Lentz looks insanely good, and he's 100% scouted. While Rod Smith, he's also 100% scouted. Oh, man, this is a tough decision, because I know Rod Smith probably won't be there at our next pick. Will Sam Lentz? No, probably not either. So there's 5 potential blue future stats. There's 5 here as well. I think we go for the third baseman. As much as I like the outfielder, we have outfielders right now still for a little bit longer. But I do really like the looks of Rod Smith, and we need third baseman as much as possible here. Like, this guy should be a high overall. He might have a low potential, that's the only thing. Like, if he's a 72 potential, it's 79 overall. I feel like Sam Lentz might be more confirmed in a sense. But he is supposed to go before Rod Smith. Yeah, let's go with Rod Smith. Let's do it. We need third baseman. I'm going to take a risk here. If I make the wrong decision here and you guys get mad at me in the comments, so be it. But we're going to take Rod Smith. We need third baseman. Let's hope that was the right call, because we needed a third baseman. There was a couple other third basemen that went in the first round. Makes me think that he might be another good third baseman, because we already had, what was the other third baseman that went in this first round? There was already like Cabrera. There was already John Bryant, who was third base. So I think Rod Smith would have been the right pick. And Lenny Smith goes right after him. So is that his brother? No, they're definitely not brothers. Eddie Palmeiro then goes 29th to the Mets. Hopefully we made the right call with that. And who's Boston going to take at 30? Boston takes Patrick Winter, who we never scouted at all. Okay, let's now get to our next pick and see if anybody's still there, which Sean Crowley's still there, which is awesome. We're definitely going to go for Sean Crowley now, I think. Everybody else went already. So let's take a look. Charles Brown went to Kansas City, but he's got that high bonus demand, so I really didn't want that. Let's see. Looking for those other guys I was looking at. Sam Lentz ends up going to the Guardians. He's injured as well, so it's good. I guess I didn't go with him. But he still might be a really solid player there for them at that steal. And then... where's the other dude I was looking at? The other third baseman, or the other player I was looking at. Wasn't there another player? I don't think there was. I don't know. But I think we're going for Sean Crowley here already. I know I could wait till later, but we need closing pitcher help as much as possible. These other two really do not look that great. So Crowley, welcome aboard. That might be a bad pick. It might not be. But it gives us a closing pitcher at least to our system. Let's go to our next pick here and... see what we're able to snag up. I don't like any of these guys on our list here. Who else do we have scouted out? Let's just go all players. Maybe take a risk on somebody. Clint Shell, another closing pitcher. We should probably draft multiple closing pitchers almost, I feel like. 45% scouted. Might be a decent player. Clint Shell still scouted out. He's the only one that isn't pinned. You know what? Let's take a chance with Clint Shell as well, so that way we at least have two closing pitchers in case one of them's bad. So that way we build up the future of guys behind, like Dennis Lake and whatnot. Let's do our next pick here, round 3. Do we have anything intriguing? All of our guys that we scouted are gone. So now we're in the complete dark. Let's see. Any 99 potential guys, because that's what you always tell me, guys, to take is 99 potential ones. Let's see. Oh, there's one. Cole Watson with his amazing mustache, and he's an outfielder too, which is kind of good. Let's go with Cole Watson here. Why not? Cole Watson and his amazing mustache. Hopefully he's good. Hopefully that mustache makes him like a 99 potential. What else we got here? A 99 potential catcher, potentially. That would be kind of nice. I mean, we do have a log jam of catchers, though. So I don't really know if catcher's the spot I need that much. Let's see, looking for 99 potentials. Right fielder. We need more right fielders. Carlos Mesa. Let's go with Carlos Mesa. Might as well take a chance on some of those guys. Our next pick in round number 5. Anything intriguing here? Another 99 potential right fielder maybe in DeAndre Stevenson. Let's take a chance with him, because we need that outfield, that third base pool pretty much like built up a bit, so might as well take a chance on any of these guys that might be really high potential. There's a third baseman with maybe 97 potential. Probably not. He might end up being a D potential guy, but I might honestly just take a chance with him because of that potential. There's also a relief pitcher, though. We do need relievers. This guy actually might be okay. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with the relief pitcher instead. Michael Manuel, who's a relief pitcher, 67 to 91 maybe, 32 to 56. He might be like a project player, but he might also be D potential, but we could use more relievers, so might as well. So there's our draft. I don't know how good that draft is going to be for us, but I'm hoping I made the right call, since obviously all those 3 guys that Nick wanted went off the board earlier on than I expected, but I'll just skim through this in case you guys see anybody intriguing here in terms of names that I was looking at. And there we go. So there is the entire draft. Let's take a look at what we end up getting here. We're going to have to sign them up. So let's get through the all-star related stuff. Let's see who was in the home run derby. Anybody for us? It's in Houston this year, looks like. Nobody for us was in the home run derby. Okay. How about the All-Star game, though? Because I feel like we should have a lot of representation here with how good our team has been. Well, let's see what we got. Let's see. Quick manage. Yes, I don't really care because we're not actually doing this. We're just taking a look at who's here. So Garth Howe has made another All-Star game. Not a surprise. Shout out to Garth for making another All-Star game. That's his, like, third at least. And nobody else in the pitching department because we didn't have good closers. Because, yeah, Dennis Lake has struggled this year so far. So Garth Howe, the only pitcher. Batting-wise, we have multiple players that are starters. Anton Trevino, Bill O'Donnell. We also have George Pinheiro making the All-Star game. Former player that could have been with us this season still, Ollie Gelman has made the All-Star game. And I think that is it. Gary Steiner made it on the bench. That's nice. So in total, between our pitchers and all that, we have 1, 2. We had 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe. Yeah, we might have had like 5 or 6 All-Stars this year. What's really weird though is Giancarlo Sixto's not in the All-Star game. Ozzy Cardenas isn't because he wasn't having a great start to the year. But the guys you would expect to be there aren't there, which just shows how good of our depth is with this team. So there is the All-Star rosters. Let's go to after the All-Star game. As the NL has beaten the AL. No. And we should be able to start signing our picks at the end of this week, right? Oh, let's stop similarly. It's right there. Okay. Yeah, so you look at all that All-Star representation in terms of starters. We had 4 starters. That's awesome. Yeah, because Bill's been insanely good this year. So he's going to probably demand a lot of money this offseason. But let's try and sign our first pick here. Rod Smith didn't have a lot of interest. Oh, yeah, so we should probably have him gain a lot of interest, or else we might not be able to sign him, or wait till the offseason to sign him at least. Let's try and get our closing pitchers signed, because I think those guys might be actually pretty good. Should be able to easily get Crowley here. And he declines the first offer. Come on, Crowley. What about Clint Shell? You want to accept already? There you go. Clint Shell is already on board. That's good. We need Cole Watson scouted out longer. Same with all these other guys. Let's get Cole Watson scouted out longer since he was a higher up pick than some of the other guys. And in our third spot, we will get Mesa scouted out. Hopefully those guys are actually really good potential, because that would be nice to have some good steals in this draft. 2 games against the Mariners, we win those 2, and the next game we lose that one 4-3, but we're 64-30. Are we the only team at 60 wins right now on the season? Yes, we're the only team with 60 plus wins at this stage. Love to see it. Got to keep those guys still getting scouted out longer, but let's go to the other guys to offer contracts to. Let's get Crowley signed. There we go. Sean Crowley's on board, so there's 2 closing pitchers. And we need to interest higher on all these guys. Some of them we might have to wait till the last day. If we end up losing these guys like Stevenson and Manuel, we'll sign them in the offseason, because those are probably spots we need them in. But I still want to have them a little bit scouted out in a way. Let's keep on getting these guys scouted out longer, especially Rod Smith, because Rod Smith needs that interest to go high. Let's skip through that. There's a bad loss and a good win. 2 very different games against the Padres. Let's see what we're working with now. 34% interest, 50%, so we could try and get Cole Watson here. And Cole Watson is accepted. Nice. We got the glorious mustache. We'll put Stevenson on here since he's already got a higher interest. It's a bit risky signing some of these guys, but honestly, I just want more prospects in the system at this rate. There's 3 really good offensive games, but not defensive. 18-4 win over Texas there. Jeez. I want to take a look at the box score on that one for fun. So 5 RBIs from Ozzy in that game. So Ozzy's all of a sudden starting to pick it up again, it seems like. And Carmen Osuna had a pretty solid game for the most part. And Sparbordi was decent. Nice. We had 21 hits in that game total. It's crazy. Okay, Rod Smith is getting closer to being able to be signed. Mesa's getting close. Stevenson's still a ways away. Let's go another 3 days. Trevino's been injured for a few days. Let's just go keep active, but at least it's only a few days. I don't want to have any major injuries this season. Rod Smith's still not up there yet, but Carlos Mesa's ready to be signed. He's looking like a good potential player. He is. He's just looking like a low overall at a draft, which means a good project outfielder, but I will still take that. He's not looking like necessarily the best offensive, but he's going to have maybe good speed. So we will sign him up if he can. There you go. Perfect. So Stevenson there now, and it almost looks like Manuel, but it's Michael Manuel. He'll be now getting scouted out a little bit. Stevenson's looking decent so far too. And Rod Smith, we already have him 100% scouted, so we don't need to worry about that. But we do need his interest to get higher. I don't know if we're going to be able to sign him until the actual last day, which is a bit scary considering he was our first pick. But we'll sign him in the offseason regardless. Geez, we're at 72 wins. Any team close to us in wins. The Reds are at 61. Pirates are at 67. So the Pirates are definitely the other best team. But we're cruising right now this season, which is huge. Okay, those guys are still going up. Yeah, we honestly might have to wait till the last day to get Rod Smith, or else he might not accept. Trevino is no longer injured. Let's go place on bench for a second so I could get him into the lineup. So Ray McMahon was taking over his spot, which is okay with me. But we'll definitely get Trevino back in because I like Trevino. Obviously, making the All-Star game is huge for him, considering last year he was injured in the playoffs. That was a huge loss for us, having him out. So we'll go with, what is it? Yeah, I think we changed the defensive positions on that. And then we move this and move that. Not that it matters against no DH, but still. And then we swap you and you. Perfect. And then we swap. I just want to make sure I'm putting him right back into the right spot. Yeah, swap that again. And then swap that. And boom. Make sure we have our lineup set up properly still. 73 wins, 9-1 in our last 10 games. I love this team a lot right now. I hope we succeed in the playoffs. Let's stop the sim. We lost 2 straight games. That's not great, but oh well. Need to have some losses here and there. Yeah, we have to wait till the last day to get the rest of these guys signed up. So if I cannot get these guys signed in this episode, please remind me about these 3 players because I might forget. Rod Smith is the most important one, but I am definitely going to be trying to get him, especially when we get to the contracts in that last day. The other 2, I can obviously, like I said, bring in the offseason if they're actually that good, which right now, Stevenson looks like he could be a solid contact kind of guy. And then Manuel might be an okay reliever. It's really tough to tell with some of these guys, though. So let's get to the last day of the signings. See if we can get our first pick here. No. And skip through that. Last day to sign prospects. Okay, Rod Smith, you're going to take a good chunk of our money here just because I honestly don't really care. I'm going to give you maybe not as much as I have. Let's go 2.75. I need your interest to be as high as possible. Please, Rod. Yes, thank you. Okay, so Rod's accepted, which is huge. Now, can I get these other 2 signed up is the question. Stevenson accepts, and Michael Manuel, the last one, he's going to be not accepting. Watch. Oh, he accepts. Okay, so we didn't lose a single player. I was kind of worried since it came down to the last day, but we get everybody, which is nice. We got to go one more day and then find out our players, but we're 75-35 at this stage. Craziness. Craziness. I got to take a look at player stats, or where we're sitting in terms of standing stuff right now again. Where are we in terms of this before we look at our prospects from this draft? Like, has our team rankings improved? Our batting average has gone up by 0.1, so maybe Ozzy has improved, and that's why. I'm looking at our ERA, though. Is it still in a good spot as a team? It has jumped up to 4th place from 6th. That's huge. We're almost in the top 3 in ERA, which is amazing. So our pitching is getting better as the season's going on. Will it be good in the playoffs is the question, because we're definitely a playoff-bound team at this rate. Now the question is, how was our draft? Wow, we've lost like 4 of our last 6 games, but it doesn't matter at this stage because, I mean, once we get to the playoffs, as long as we win then. But how good was our draft? Did we make the right call with Rod Smith? And how did the other teams do in the draft is the question. Rod Smith is... Oh, okay, well, that's okay. That's okay. He's actually like a third base Aussie in that sense. A 70 overall at 19 is fantastic, but only see potential. We can still, obviously, if this guy plays really good in AAA, we can bump him up to a B potential. But right now, he's got the tools to be decent. Like, his vision and discipline are decent. Like, his discipline's good. His vision needs work. But that power hitting is solid. The contact hitting is solid. Like, he could be still a good player at a C potential. I know that outfielder is probably going to be like an A potential watch, though, that I could have went for, but I went for the third baseman instead. At least we still get somebody to help out our pool, and that's our highest overall third baseman almost on our roster. So, there is Rod Smith. What about our next pick? Okay, Sean Crowley is good. Yeah, we were expecting. He was not supposed to get drafted. A potential, 59 at 21, so a little bit of a low overall at 21, but I mean, it's a future closing pitcher for us behind like Dennis Lake and Luis Guzman and all that, so I like that pick a lot still. He has a good arm. He has 4 different pitches as a closer. Not bad at all. His stamina is actually pretty good too for a closer, so he might be able to go multiple innings. So there is Sean Crowley. Our next pick up here, Clint Shell, the same type of boat. Honestly, I would say Clint Shell's better since he's the same overall at a much younger age. So Clint Shell, A potential, 59 overall at 18. 4 different pitches as well. Doesn't have as much stamina, but still, he looks like he could be a pretty solid closer if we could get that home runs per 9 up a little bit. Not that it matters because he's not going to be pitching 9 innings, but his Ks per 9 and his walks per 9 is pretty good already. Hits per 9 needs a little bit of work too, but yeah, that home runs to 9 is probably the most concerning stat. So I'd say we've hit on so far 2 of our 3 picks. I think our first rounder is okay, but it's obviously not a home run of a pick. These last 2 picks are obviously really good just to help out our closing pitcher depth. Our next pick, B potential, 50 overall at 18. So we took a shot in the dark with Cole Watson because of his mustache and that fact that he could be a 99 potential. He is a speed threat. Really good speed, really good stealing. His contact hitting and all that stuff is very not that good. So in general, this guy might be a kind of guy we want to pinch run or something like that. I don't really know. I hope he could develop his hitting game, but I honestly don't know if that's going to be something he could do. Still a solid pick nonetheless. Our next pick, Carlos Mesa, kind of another project player. A potential, 46 at 19. Pretty low overall, but I mean, it gives us an outfielding prospect that we could hopefully develop into being somebody to take over Bill's spot eventually, or some outfielder spot. But yeah, Carlos Mesa. Another speed threat. Not too bad stealing as well. But his hitting is not great. His contact is definitely better than the other guy. But his power hitting is very low. His vision and discipline is also not too bad. So we might be able to develop him into a good contact hitter. Our next pick here, DeAndre Stevenson, B potential as well, 48 at 19. Contact hitting is also needing a little bit of work, but once again, more good speed and stealing. I like it. So I'd say a lot of these picks have been pretty good. And in Michael Manuel, not so much. This was probably our worst pick for sure, but we randomly took a shot in the dark on a reliever. He's got C potential, which is okay at 20. But a 43 overall at 20 is not great. So he's a major project at 20. But I'd say we had an okay draft. I'd say we have an okay draft because Rod Smith, 78 potential. That's a usable third baseman still in the MLB. Obviously, he could do really good, though, and then he could get his potential even higher than that. These other guys, though, like 91 potential for Crowley, 92 for Shell. That's great. Cole Watson having an 86 potential is really solid, too. It's not like it's like only an 80 overall potential. Mesa, 93 potential is really solid. And then you have Stevenson at 87 potential. Manuel has 78 potential, but I doubt he reaches that. He might, but it might take him a long-ass time. I'd say a good draft for us, as long as we made the right calls. So what did the rest of the league get in this draft? Any good players? So Irving was good. We were definitely looking at him, and he is definitely more of a defensive outfielder, but he can develop that power and contact game. We were looking at him. Jonathan Webster, pretty solid. Gonna skim through this a little bit quicker than normal, but I'm gonna try and read out any names we were looking at potentially. Matt Lloyd was one guy we were scouting out in the last week. He is a great overall at 18, and he has 79 potential. Really good power hitting. He's only a C potential guy, but that power hitting, he could definitely hit some dingers if he gets that vision and discipline up there. So there's that. Let's see, any other guys we were looking at? Well, we saw Otis Samuel go in the draft, and that was a terrible pick by the Braves. 57 at 18, only 72 potential. He's just barely into the C potential range. Not a great draft for the Braves. The Marlins got a couple good players here. These two guys. So there's that. Eddie Palmeiro, who we're looking at, is not that great. So he definitely made the right call taking Smith over Palmeiro. Because, yeah, 74 potential at 18. 51 overall. It's another C potential guy, though. Willie Esquivel's solid. There is that. Javier Pena. Oh, my goodness. I would have loved to have Javier Pena. But he went way earlier than we were hoping. Look at that contact numbers, the power hitting against righties. And that discipline and vision is pretty solid, too. It's not the best, but it's definitely going to be good. Yeah, this guy's a great pick. The Phillies are building up a really good team between Ned Thompson, that catcher they drafted a few years ago, and then this Pena guy. Craziness. They're definitely building up a championship caliber team under our nose, pretty much. Danny Livingston's pretty good. First starting pitcher prospect for the Nationals. Willie Cabrera, who the other guy we're looking at, was really good as well. Oh my goodness, I would have loved Willie. Really good contact, very good vision and discipline. High overall, and he's got a high potential too. That would have been the good third baseman to take for our team, but unfortunately he went way too early. So definitely Nick had the right calls on those to go with those guys if possible. I feel like the other guy's not going to be as good, but I could be wrong. Lenny Smith, who just went after our Smith, Rod Smith, is better. Yeah, this probably would have been a better pick taking Lenny Smith. But his vision and discipline is very low. So, I don't know. George Franco, pretty solid prospect there for the Reds. Rafael Murillo, who went to the Brewers, pretty good player there. They're building up a really good pitching rotation, I think, too. So there is that. What else we got here? Dennis Blank. He was one of the late picks. He was actually, wait, no, was he a late pick in the first round, or was he, no, he wasn't the first round pick that was late. He might have went in like the second round. I don't really know, but he's really good. Really, really good. 74 overall at 18, 94 potential as a closer. I wish we would have scouted at him. God damn. What else we got here? Don't recognize a lot of these names, but some solid players on there. Jeff Pipp, who we were looking at, is not that great, like our Jeff Pipp, but I mean, he could still be a solid, like, number 5 pitcher on the Diamondbacks. So that's an okay pick, but not a crazy one. Billy Denny is a really good steal, but he is a project. Wow, the Rockies had a really good draft. They got Vasquez, who's an 84 potential. Ackerman, who's an 84 potential, and he's already 65 overall. Luis Gomez, who's 94 potential in the 68 at 23. A little bit of a low overall for a 23-year-old, but he should still develop into being a good starter. And then Thomas Felton. Yeah, they had a really good draft. Interesting. Salvador Blanco. Emil Ortega. Not a great pick there for the Padres. Polito. Okay. Robbie Torres. But he's already 23. Eek. What else we got here? There's Charlie Bryant. I think we scouted him. Alexi Davila. Patrick Winter, the Red Sox took him last in the first round, and he is not very good. Which is nice for us, because I do not like the Red Sox in this for knocking us out last year. What else we got? Keith Beach is okay. Mark Cruz is a good... he's a bit of a project. Still looks like a solid draft for the Yankees, nonetheless. Fernando Franco is pretty good for the Rays. He went before our pick, so... Vasquez, the other one, not the best. Tyler Ball is good potential, so Nick, you were right on that, but he is a major project. And he went right before our pick, or else we would have had him as well, but... Tyler Ball. Did we make the right call in a sense in getting Rod Smith right after him? I would say maybe, but it's hard to tell at this stage. Because look at his, this is what Tyler Ball's statistics look like. He is definitely a great power hitter against righties, and his power hitting against lefties is okay, but that vision and discipline, not the best. Not the best. Does have good speed and stealing too, though. John Bryant, pretty solid third baseman there. He was the one that went first out of the third baseman in the first round, I think. Yeah, he's pretty solid. Rich Sheehan's a good not closing pitcher, center fielder. Goddamn. Esteban Salazar is pretty good. William Shin, decent prospect. Looks like a good draft for the Royals as well, at least in our first three. Justin Ness is really solid. Charles Brown, they end up getting him as well. And he's also a very solid closing pitcher. And Jack Carlson. Okay. Or Carson, actually, not Carlson. I thought it said Carlson. What the heck? Luis Soriano, this is the guy that went first overall in the draft. 72 at 20, 91 potential. He should be pretty solid. That vision is a bit low, but yeah, he's a good player. At least for the future for them. Tom Workman as well. Anything else? Gary Hughes is a pretty good second baseman prospect. Yeah, it's a really good pick there for the Astros. It's not great because they're in our division. Richard Adams as well. Ryan Hall, yeah, they had a really solid top 3 picks. All at second base, which is kind of weird. And then Hoyt Borowitz, he was the number 2 or number 3 pick in the draft. He's okay. He's a project kind of guy, but still should be usable. There's Calzado, who's much better than the other guy, but he's a closer. And Ikeda, he's okay. And a 97 potential catcher, that's 61 at 19. That managed to slip way late in the draft. Damn, that's a good pick. That would have been nice. But I didn't realize that guy was that good. I didn't even scout him out, I don't think. But in general, I'd say we had one of the better drafts in terms of depth for sure. I still say Rod Smith is a solid pick because of his overall and his age. And obviously he could outgrow that potential pretty well. Manuel, I'd say, is definitely the worst of the bunch. And then these other guys here, all really solid project players. Because most of them are 18 and 19 except for Crowley. And Crowley was supposed to get undrafted too, so there is that, and I think that's pretty much almost it. I don't want to take a look at player stats in this episode because I know that's going to make this episode super long. So let's just quickly go through our team rankings again, just so we can see where we're sitting in terms of everything. I'm just not even going to read anything out, but if you guys want to pause it at certain points, you can. So you can let me know if we're in the right direction. We're number 1 in home runs. And yeah, we're definitely the best team in RBIs. We've almost scored we've scored like 40 more runs than the next closest team. So I will show you guys all this so you guys can kind of let me know if there's anything we change about our lineup in that sense. But it looks like we're pretty much like number 1 in mostly everything at the moment, which is good. Not number 1 in assists. Where are we in assists? 25th. Damn, okay. So our defense is a bit maybe of a problem. We do have a lot of putouts though. Maybe we just don't let them hit as much. Fielding percentage is 6th. Okay. 4th still in ERA. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So there's that, and standings wise, I want to show you guys that as well. We're at 75 wins. I'll skim through the entire league at this stage too, because might as well. The Pirates are at 72, so they're the only other team with 70 plus wins. So there is that, and that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Vancouver Rain Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will simulate the rest of the 2036 season as we look to obviously punch our ticket to the playoffs. And then hopefully after that, we could definitely take a run and get to our World Series this year and not get knocked out in the ALCS again. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.